Now to the double murder in Wilson County. We're learning the suspect is charged with killing his own brother and his mother. Police identifying the victims as 50-year-old Dana Jenkins and her 15-year-old son, Darren Cox.
It was a quiet evening in Wilson, North Carolina. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary on Snowden Drive. Kids played outside, neighbors cooked dinner. Everything felt normal. But inside one house, something unthinkable was about to happen.
Wilson police responded to this home on Snowden Drive around 5:30 yesterday and found 2 people dead inside.
By the end of the night, 2 family members would be dead, and the person accused of killing them was someone no one expected. This isn't just a crime story. It's about trust, family, and the kind of silence that hides something dangerous. What really happened behind those closed doors? And could anyone have stopped it?
Today, we have learned those 2 people have been identified as Jenkins' mom, 50-year-old Dana Jenkins, and his 15-year-old brother.
Darren Cox was a 15-year-old boy living a quiet life in Wilson. A student at Bedingfield High School, he kept to himself, but earned a reputation as respectful and kind. His faith was important to him, and he was an active member of his church community. Darren regularly attended church services with his mother, Dana Jenkins, and was involved in youth group activities.
Jenkins is also accused of killing his 15-year-old brother, a Wilson County school student who is being remembered by Bedingfield High School and Mount Moriah Community Church in Wilson.
People who knew him described a gentle, helpful spirit behind his shy smile, someone who wanted to make a positive impact despite his young age. Dana Jenkins was a woman devoted to her family and faith. At 50, she was well known in their local church, where she volunteered often and supported community events. Friends and neighbors remembered her warmth, her ready smile, and her commitment to keeping her family close and steady. She worked hard to provide a stable home for Darren, encouraging him in his studies and his involvement with church and school. Their bond was strong, and Dana often expressed hope that Darren would finish school and find a good path in life.
Didn't make boss moves. She liked to argue, so I sent that bitch to law school.
Days leading up to that tragic night, Dana's attention wasn't only on her teenage son. Her older son, Darren Jenkins, had just come home after serving several years in prison for nonviolent crimes like gun and auto theft. Dana welcomed him home openly, celebrating his release on social media with the words, "My baby is home. Lord, I thank you." The hope was for a fresh start, a chance to rebuild fractured family ties. But the days following Darren's return would not unfold as anyone expected.
Jenkins' 25-year-old son, Darren Jenkins, is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
On March 31st, 2025, just after 5:30 p.m., Wilson police got a call about an emergency from the 1700 block of Snowden Drive. The caller didn't give many details and said only it was an unknown type of problem. When officers arrived at the Jenkins family home, they walked into a horrifying scene. Inside the house were 2 dead bodies, Dana Jenkins and Darren Cox.
Victims were found inside a home yesterday evening on Snowden Drive. Cindy Bay has new reaction from the family.
The shock got worse when they found out the suspect was Darren Jenkins, Dana's 25-year-old son who was just released from prison 6 days earlier. That same morning, Darren's cousin and next-door neighbor, Juanila Cornegay, noticed he was acting strange. She saw him fidgeting and looking restless more than usual. His hand was cut and covered with a bandage. What stood out the most was his eyes. They looked haunted and distant, like he was carrying a heavy weight.
Have been released from prison less than a week before he's accused of killing his mother and his brother.
Juanila said later, "The look on his face told me he about to do something bad. It was a warning, but no one knew what was coming until it was too late." Hours later, tragedy became real. Police found Dana and Darren dead inside their home. Official reports have given few details about how they died. Some family members said the 2 had been stabbed, but the police have not confirmed this. The lack of clear information only makes the crime feel even darker and more disturbing.
Loved ones are reeling from the death of a mother and son who police say were found dead inside their Wilson home on Monday.
No one can fully understand what happened that night, which adds to the sadness and confusion felt by everyone who knew them. Darren was still inside the house when the police arrived. They arrested him on the spot. He is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, which means the police believe the killings were planned and deliberate. Dayron is being held in Wilson County Jail and has not been given the chance to pay bail. At his first court appearance, he did not speak. So far, there is no public information about whether he has a lawyer or what his plea will be. The news shocked the community deeply.
Jenkins, he appeared in court today. He's facing 2 counts of first-degree murder.
Dana was known as a kind and cheerful woman. She always smiled and welcomed everyone she met. Her cousin Juanilla said Dana was very sweet and always smiled. She had a way of making people feel like family, giving hugs and kindness that made her neighborhood feel safe and warm. Her loss is not just the loss of a mother and friend, but of a person who made the community better just by being herself. Darren's death was just as heartbreaking. The 15-year-old was quiet, but full of hope. He had a strong faith and wanted to become a pastor one day. He was active in his church, serving on the media team at Mount Moriah Community Church, where he helped with sound and video. At school, Beddingfield High, he was known by many students and teachers.
He was a very sweet person. Always smiled. I can see her smile right now. She always smiled.
Bishop Sherman Blandon, who knew the family well, talked about how Dana and Darren's smiles had been bright and full of life. He said their deaths left a deep hole in the hearts of many people. The community feels a loss that cannot be easily filled. After the killings, the local schools arranged for counselors to help students who were struggling with the shock and grief. Many young people had difficulty coping with the sudden death of someone they knew. The church held a special service to pray for the family and the whole community. The sadness hung heavy over Wilson, like a dark cloud that would not go away. Neighbors and friends found it hard to understand how something so terrible could happen in their quiet town.
They loved each other. They loved us. We loved them, especially Darren. He meant the world to all of us.
They tried to make sense of the sudden violence and loss, but answers were scarce. The pain was real, and the community still feels the impact of that night. Now every memory is tinged with sorrow. What were once ordinary moments, school drop-offs, quiet evenings at home, laughter around the dinner table, are now reminders of a life forever changed. The weight of grief in this community is heavy, and the journey toward healing will be long and uncertain. Dana was a devoted mother who juggled work and parenting with quiet strength. Friends describe her as someone who always put her children first. Her days were full of routine, going to work, returning home to make dinner, helping with homework. She was trying to create a stable life. But in the span of one night, everything collapsed. No one expected this. Family and friends are still in disbelief. Dana's cousin shared, "I would have never thought he was capable of something like that." In hindsight, the signs feel haunting. Darren was released from prison on March 25th. By March 31st, things had already started to unravel. That morning, neighbors noticed him acting erratically. By nightfall, tragedy struck. Questions now linger without answers. Was this a calculated act or a mental health crisis spiraling out of control? Police have not revealed the weapon used or the official cause of death. Darren remains silent. No public statements, no explanation. Just a void where understanding should be. Some close to the family point to his mental state. One relative described Darren as acting like a crazy person getting ready to do something. Was he experiencing a psychological break? Could this have been prevented with the right intervention? Others worry it may have been planned. His pacing, the anxiety in his voice, the unpredictable behavior earlier that day. Some see these as indicators of intent. Yet, investigators haven't confirmed whether the attack was premeditated. The legal system is preparing for a difficult case. Darren is facing a possible first-degree murder charge, suggesting that prosecutors believe the act was intentional and deliberate. His defense will likely focus on his mental health, potentially arguing insanity or diminished capacity. The courtroom will soon become a stage where every detail of his background, his prison time, family relationships, and mental history will be scrutinized. Bond hearings, psychiatric evaluations, and evidence reviews are expected in the coming weeks. If convicted, Darren could spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. The upcoming trial will undoubtedly reopen emotional wounds for a family and community already reeling from loss. In the meantime, the town of Wilson grieves. At Mount Moriah Church, candles flicker during prayer vigils. Students have left heartfelt notes and balloons outside the school in memory of Darren. On social media, friends share photos, Dana's warm embrace, Darren's shy smile, trying to keep their spirits alive amid overwhelming sadness. For the family left behind, time seems frozen. Holidays will come and go without them. Birthdays will be missed. The silence in the house is deafening. This tragedy also raises broader concerns. Was Darren properly supported after his release from prison? Did anyone notice the warning signs and choose to intervene? The family had little contact with him during his incarceration. Had that emotional distance grown too large to bridge? And what do we do when someone with no violent history suddenly becomes dangerous? There are no easy answers, but stories like this compel us to pay closer attention to mental health red flags, to struggling loved ones, to cracks in our systems of support and rehabilitation. They remind us that healing doesn't begin in a courtroom. It starts with conversation, connection, and compassion. As this case moves forward, prosecutors will present their case, the defense will challenge it, and the community will relive its most painful day. Victim impact statements will give voice to the heartbreak that statistics and headlines often ignore. Police continue urging anyone with additional information to step forward. The hope is that the full truth will come out, that justice, in whatever form it may take, will offer some measure of peace. The Darren Cox case is more than just a tragic news story. It reveals deep flaws in how we approach re-entry from prison, how we treat mental health, and how fragile family connections can become under the weight of time and trauma. Dana and Darren's lives now serve as a powerful reminder. Check in with those around you. Look for the signs, and never ignore the quiet cries for help. Because sometimes, what we don't hear can become the loudest echo in someone's story. This is not the end. Court dates will be set, testimonies will be heard, but the heartbreak in Wilson, North Carolina, will echo far beyond the verdict. And in the midst of it all, one family must learn how to live again without the two people they loved most. What are your thoughts about this tragic and heartbreaking story? Please share your thoughts in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel and like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel for upcoming crime stories. Your support is greatly appreciated. Stay safe, and I will see you on the next episode.